I didn't replace my washer or dryer, but these simple changes made the whole space feel brand new. Let's start with the outlets and those ugly hookups behind the washer. Start by shopping your house for some rectangular placemats. Now, take some circular curtain rings with clips and clip a couple of rings to the long side of a placemat. Then, take a tension rod and thread the curtain rings and placemats onto it. Secure the tension rod behind the washer and dryer. Now, everything unsightly is hidden, and the space behind the washer and dryer looks pretty. Bath mats and rugs need special care when you wash them, and often air drying them is recommended. Buy a magnetic adjustable towel bar and assemble it by screwing the magnets onto the rod. The magnets are really strong, so you can easily pop it onto the front of a top-loading washer. Hang a freshly washed mat or rug onto the towel bar for easy and handy drying that doesn't take up any space at all. Do you have a space beside your dryer where socks and other items fall and disappear? Take a couple of pool noodles and cut them in half. Stack the noodles and tie pieces of decorative ribbon around the noodles to secure them in place. Tuck the wrapped pool noodles between the dryer and your wall or counter. No more losing socks off the side of your dryer. Simply write a reminder of a task on the top of your dryer with a dry erase marker. You can easily erase the marker with whiteboard cleaner, rubbing alcohol, or a dry eraser. Doing the laundry is a lot more pleasant when your washer-dryer space makes the job easier and looks lovely at the same time. I hope this has inspired you to make your laundry space work for you and look good at the same time.
While browsing at my local thrift store, I came across these packs of caster wheels. I have this old chair that's been kicking around in my garage, and we are going to cut off the back of the chair. With my chair back off, I took the chair and I flipped it over onto the seat. This is where we're going to add in our caster wheels from the thrift store. So I took a 1/2-inch spade bit and I just drilled down into the top of each leg. And then my caster wheel fit perfectly nice and snug into these 1/2-inch holes. Next, I'm going to add a laundry basket to the top. So I got this laundry basket at my local home goods store, and I'm just going to go ahead and use a zip tie, and I'm going to secure it onto the chair. And with the project complete, I have a rolling standing laundry basket cart, and this is so convenient for me. Not have to bend over and pull the clothes out of the dryer and bend over a laundry basket. I just love how easy this project was, and it's just functional farmhouse pretty.
Sometimes there's nothing more aggravating than get laundry soap, but I've got a laundry room hack that's going to work. I'm going to take a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood. I'm going to lay some painter's tape out on it, and then I'm going to make some marks. Once I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and put my ruler down and mark a straight line. What this does is it gives it a nice clean edge when I'm cutting plywood. Once I get it cut, I just take the tape and I pull it away from the edge, and it gives it splinter free. I'm going to do this all over the plywood, and I got to get top, bottom, sides. But the next step is on one of the sides, I'm going to pre-drill some holes. Using a 1-inch paddle bit, I can cut through and drill these holes on each side about 1 inch from the edge. Then I'll take a level or straight edge, and I'm going to mark on the top of each hole, go ahead and use a jigsaw and cut it through. Once I get this done, I'm going to sand those edges just a little bit on the inside there, and then I can use a Forstner bit. This one's 1.5 inches wide. I'm just going to give it a slight drill on this bottom piece. Then I need to lay all my pieces out. What I'm going to do is stain all the pieces to the box before I put it together. There's nothing worse than getting a box or putting some project together and trying to get all the edges done after you put it together. What I need to do is just get this done and let it dry for about an hour or two. And then where I drilled out with the Forstner bit, I'm just going to put some walnut in there and make it stand out a little bit. Now it's time for glue. A lot of people don't realize that glue actually can be stronger than screws or nails. But what I do is I put the glue down and then I use some pin nails to hold it together while the glue dries. After about 2 hours, it's really strong. I'm going to turn this piece over because that's the bottom, and I'm going to glue all 4 sides and put the bottom piece right on. I'm going to get it lined up just nice and then use that pin nailer just to put down and hold those in. If you see some glue popping out, I'm going to wipe that off too. I didn't stain the bottom, but that's okay. Next, I'm going to put a hinge on for the top lid, put that together, and then I'm going to put it in place. The first thing I want to do is make sure it matches everything in my laundry room. I'm going to put my fabric sheet box in there and pull it right through. It's going to look like a Kleenex tissue box. Then I'm going to put the soap on top. And as you can see, I've got a slight bevel to make sure that it drips or it drains towards the front. Then look at this. Isn't that great? It just dispenses right there. And if it drips at all, I can go ahead and catch all the drippings and it doesn't get on the washing machine. Oh, and don't forget, if you like to keep the lint for fire starters, guess what? There's room in there also, those paper toilet roll holders, and stick some lint in there. I think this hack turned out pretty good, and I hope it inspired you to probably build your own simplistic little soap dispenser.
Run on over to the Dollar Tree and grab one of these blue baskets for these awesome DIY hacks. Here's a quick look at our laundry room. Now, we're very fortunate to have cabinets, but what can you do if you don't have enough cabinet space? First, you'll need to decide how many baskets you're going to need and if you need to do them vertical or horizontal. Once you have all those decisions made, it's time to map it out. So I grabbed a ruler and I'm marking where exactly I want each of these bins to go on my wall. Now, for stability, you can choose exactly how you'd like to adhere these baskets to your wall, adding 2 screws to each basket or possibly 4. Now that all the baskets are up, it's time to load them up. Some examples of what you can put in them are perhaps some cleaning supplies, your dryer sheets, your laundry soap. There's a lot of possibilities here. So while I was at the dollar store, I grabbed one of these over the cabinet door hangers and they hook nicely into the holes onto the baskets. For this hack, you're going to need some hooks. Next, you'll measure out where you want your hooks to go. I'm going to grab some bins that I found at the dollar store and I'm going to hook them onto the hooks. So now I can separate out my darks from my whites. I'm going to take an over the door hanging rack and I'm going to hook it over the top of my door. This is perfect for ironing boards. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my iron and I'm also going to hook it onto the over the door hanging rack. This keeps 2 things in one place and it doesn't take any cabinet or counter space or shelf space.
One of the main causes of home fires in America is the fact that the lint builds up in your washing machine. Now, we clear it out, but why don't you grab yourself a dryer sheet, wrap it around a stick or a paint stick. Use a rubber band to hold it on in place at the bottom, and what we need to do is stick it in those hard to reach places right next to the dryer vent where it catches. The lint loves to collect against the metal inside your dryer. You're going to use this to break it up and it clings to the dryer sheet. Now back to the blinds. We know these are a pain to keep clean. So what you can do is grab some tongs and grab those dryer sheets again. Not only will make it easy to clean, but it'll give off a great smell when you're cleaning. Look at how the dust collects to those tongs and the dryer sheets. Working at that keyboard can cause your wrist and your arms to get tired and sore. Why don't we grab some pipe insulation from your local hardware store? What you're going to want to do is cut it to the length of your keyboard and then cut it in half. Split that because it sits flat on the desk. That is a great support for your wrists and holds it in place. Might seem a little uneasy at first, but it's great. Now, under that computer, I've got a ton of loose wires and my feet always get caught inside there. I can also take that same pipe insulation and wrap it up together and put it inside the insulation right through the middle. Once I get it all in there, just turn it around and now it's protected against the wall and it won't catch my feet. Next, let's move on to the car. There's nothing worse than losing things like your cell phone down the crease between the seat and the console. Take that other half of that pipe insulation, you're going to stick it down in there. Look at that. Garbage, dirt, and your cell phone are safe from getting lost. Now, if you grab some dry erase markers, you can use those on top of your dryer or your washing machine. You can use it as a way to keep hold of your shopping list. Go ahead and use it for dryer sheets, laundry soaps, or bleach. Once you go shopping or you make your own list to go to the store, it wipes right off and it's perfect. There's nothing worse than trying to hang a picture and using a level. First, you're worried about scratching the wall and it moves when you're trying to use it. Take some rubber bands, put it around the level, and it grips the wall. Very easy to do. You can do it with one hand. Get it level. Look how I'm using one hand, and you mark your line where you need to put nail. Next, nothing worse than holding a nail with your hands, especially the little ones for the pictures. You can always hit your hands with them. What you can do is grab a pair of pliers, put some rubber bands on them. Look at that, it's self-gripping. Just go ahead and put it right on the nail there, put it up against the wall, and then it's easy to hammer in. And it won't lose its grip on the nail because you got the rubber band on there. Once you got it in place, just go ahead and finish it off and it's going to hold for your next picture. I hope these hacks really helped you out for your next time you do DIY around the house.